Jey Uso just went bonkers on SmackDown. He went crazy on an awesome rampage. Welcome to the WrestleTalk podcast review of SmackDown. I am Corporate Chopper Pete Quinnell. I'm joined by Randy Andy Datson. And the first thing we're going to be talking about today on this SmackDown review is Jey Uso, who is really, really good. Spoilers. He's main evented now the past 4 episodes of SmackDown. And according to a report, I believe from Wrestling News, might be wrong with that.
Yeah.
They're saying that they're trying to elevate through this whole kind of head of the table storyline. Obviously, Roman is the most important figure they're trying to protect through it, but they're also trying to elevate both Jey and Jimmy Uso once Jimmy comes back to the next level in WWE. And I think they're doing a pretty bloody good job of it, especially on this episode, which started off with Jey Uso coming out first and kind of hyping up Roman's victory. He's all pumped despite the men's Survivor Series team losing that he was a part of. He was super pumped up because Roman beat Drew, and that was the most important thing. And he's saying he's the head of the table, he's the best of the best. And then Roman comes out, and despite him hugging Jey Uso at Survivor Series after Jey came back, after he told him to go home, he took a completely different tact on this one and was just like, I didn't ask you to come out. I didn't ask for your help. I told you to go home. Why were you out there? And cut this really scathing promo on him about how he's like or what was it? Some bitch begging for Thanksgiving leftovers. And I was like, okay.
Yes.
Quite harsh.
I am really I'm going to make myself taller. I feel like I look really short compared to you now. There we go. I'm the head of the table, Pete. I'm genuinely so intrigued as to what the kind of end goal is for this. I know, because I know that they keep ripping up scripts from SmackDown. Again, there was another report that it was just a mess backstage yesterday, which I think is probably for quite a lot of the show, but I don't think it is going to be for these segments. I think these are the show is, this segment is always going to be there. And then the rest of the stuff is probably what was a mess. And you could sort of see that in parts of the show. But I just don't know where this is going. And that's really exciting because you sort of feel like at some point Jey's going to snap. Because they've already had the whole Jey versus Roman stuff. They had the Jey is now joining Roman, is talking him up. But Roman's character is that while he's kind of, yeah, you're my family, but you've got to do the things that I say. I am the chief here. You've got to do what I say, otherwise there's going to be problems. And the whole report is that Jimmy's coming back anytime now. I think the report a few months ago was that it was sort of January. So we could see him back for the Rumble or sooner. Will they team up to try and take out Roman? Will they try and bring in other sort of Samoan wrestlers? Because there's not like there's a shortage of Anoa'is in the wrestling world. I think one of their cousins is in MLW ROH at the moment.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's his cousin who Jacob. No, I'm making that up. There's another Fatu, I think. So it would be like Rikishi's very close relative. But yeah, I don't know how they're gonna kind of complete this story, because you sort of think, well, Roman. I think what they want is Roman Rocket at WrestleMania. I think is their kind of dream. But if that can't happen, what's going to happen with the Usos? Because are they just going to be aligned with Roman forever, or are they going to turn on him? But then you're going to have to be like, well, do they beat Roman? Because that's difficult to book. Or is Roman going to beat them? Because then what position does that leave them in? I feel like that's more likely, that they kind of eventually get sick of Roman trying to belittle them. And then they turn on him, and then they still lose valiantly, and then they just become a tag act again. Because I think the end goal is to make Roman the biggest star in the world, which they are doing a good job of right now. And I'm really positive about it. This isn't me being negative. I'm just really intrigued as to where they're going to go next, especially as sort of Jey is actively trying to put Roman over, but he's not doing it in exactly the right way that Roman wants. And that's another really interesting point. It's like Roman has a really specific idea of how he needs to be portrayed. And it's just fascinating. And everyone is playing their part. Jey's so conflicted. He's like, I was just trying to do the right thing. And he's really upset that he's like annoyed Roman. It's almost like when you upset your parents and then they're like, you know that they still love you, but you feel really bad anyway because they've kind of had that talk with you and that voice that you don't like. And Paul Heyman's there not doing much, but kind of doing his Paul Heyman stuff. And you're like, oh man, this whole segment's great. And then out comes like just everyone in this whole show played their part to make Jey look amazing. And that's my promo.
Nice, yeah. So, so Roman cut this promo on Jey Uso saying that, yeah, he's some bitch begging for Thanksgiving leftovers. That's how he's making Roman feel right now, and he doesn't like how he's making him feel. And yeah, like you said, I'm super intrigued to where the story's going. I think at some point the turn is going to be Jimmy and Jey will cost Roman a big match, perhaps at WrestleMania or something. There'll be a big turn during the match, and that will be the big, like, oh, they finally turned on him moment. Whether that gets followed up afterwards, I don't think I'd want it to, because like you said, it'd be difficult to book, because it would be kind of 2-on-1, which is, the antithesis of the booking you want. But yeah, I'm still super duper into this. But Jey looks absolutely like despondent. He's like, I can't believe like I've upset Roman again. I'm the worst. He kind of loses it. But Roman was saying, like, you need to make people fear you because they don't fear you. And he was saying, he was saying he lost control of the men's Survivor Series team. But then Roman just cut across him and just be like, you lost control of the Survivor Series team because they don't fear you. And if they don't fear you, they don't respect you. And I've told you before, if they didn't respect you, they don't respect me, and they don't respect our family. It's just the way he just works it into his own kind of mindset is brilliant. And yeah, Jey just completely loses it. And essentially he wants to make people fear him. So the next thing that happens is Otis comes out for a match against Ken Corbin. Jey walks past him off past the ramp as Otis is coming out, but then he runs back out with a chair in hand and just goes mental on Otis. Just starts smashing him with his chair again and again, and you can see the emotion he's selling on his face as he's doing it is absolutely brilliant stuff. And yeah, he just completely snaps and just hits Otis over and over and over again with his chair. It was great.
I thought what Otis did he was just there to be hit by a chair, but I thought he did a really good job of being hit by a chair. Like
totally,
he without kind of sounding like I'm saying, well, he's fat, but he's got the body shape to make chair shots sound amazing. Because he's kind of broad, and like the emotion on him, Otis screaming in pain. It was great. One quick little point on what we were talking before. What fancy booking, but like, what if like The Rock appears at Royal Rumble or something like that, and then there's sort of a feud. The Usos then decide to try, like, they're like, oh, who is the biggest dog? Pun intended. And they align with The Rock ahead of WrestleMania because they're like, oh no, I think he's the biggest bully in the playground. But then that could be how then Roman still wins. And I think that could kind of that would put him over so hard. But so that's my fantasy. That's my fantasy. I really, really like this. And you sort of thought, okay, well, cool. He's shown his emotion. But that was not the end of his rampage, not by a long shot.
No. So we saw him later. There was a match that took place between Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan, which we'll talk about later. But the very end of that match was Sami Zayn running away up the ramp, Daniel Bryan running after him, going kind of backstage, and the cameras are just looking at the referee, just counting them out. Sami Zayn sprints back in, gets back into the ring before the count of 10, which I'll talk about later because that was genius. And the referee counts out Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan's nowhere to be seen. So we're like, well, why didn't Bryan run back. What's going on? Camera cuts backstage, and it's just Jey Uso on top of Daniel Bryan, just going ham in gorilla position, just absolutely wailing away on him. Exactly the same style that Roman did to him at Clash of Champions. Love the callbacks to it. It's just him just going nuts on Bryan.
Yeah,
so good. One for continuity purposes, to give Bryan a reason to not look stupid, to not run back out to the ring. And also to further this whole Jey Uso going crazy thing. And also Kevin Owens comes to make the save on Daniel Bryan, kind of gets Jey away from him, and Jey just says, "You know where I am. Let's go." Like,
and also Daniel Bryan is supposedly facing Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble.
Right.
So that's another little wrinkle. Like, everything about this was great, but to be honest, I think someone's been in the SmackDown writing teams and watched the Scooby-Doo, because that's the classic thing. Two people run into a room, one person runs back out again. But yeah, no, the timing on that, I don't know whether that was edited to be perfect timing, but is it Jessie?
Oh, I don't know her name.
I almost call her Jessie Cave, but I feel like that's the person who plays Lavender Brown. Jessica Carr.
Jessica Carr, that's right, yes.
I knew it was something close to my Harry Potter. And so yeah, that was really, it's just the whole thing was really well timed. And then the main event the main event was made by Adam Pearson. You keep doing that. Definitely not the GM. I know you're watching.
Adam Pearce.
Comment how you got the job. So Adam Pearce made the match between Jey and Kevin Owens for the main event, and that was a great match. And had a
great match,
killer sort of finish as well. The match itself was great. There was an awesome brain buster. There was this
it looks so brutal.
Yeah, sorry, Karen.
The brainbuster itself, just to touch on it briefly, because it's like kind of like the Steen package pile driver, except he kind of just got him up and just hit his neck on his knee, and I was like, "Ow!" Yeah, that would hurt.
And there was like just a spot. There was Kevin Owens jumped off the apron, and Jey kind of, I think, realized that, hey, I might not be able to put him away here. But what I want to do is show Roman that I'm just want to make people fear me. So he just grabs a chair, gets himself disqualified, and just wails on Owens. But ingeniously, they don't just have Owens finishing the show just going like, "Ooh, my arm, that really hurt." They have him come back and start wailing on Jey with a chair. And that puts him over for the TLC match because it's a chair. This is how you build a feud. And they're doing it so well. And you just, again, it's one of those things. I know this is just me being negative about other things, but it's like, you can do really good storylines, WWE. You're really good at it when you do it properly. And
Owens' comeback, just to touch on that briefly, his comeback after Jey starts wailing away on Owens for a while with the chair. Reigns is watching backstage on the TV with Heyman. By the way, Heyman, during the opening promo and during this, like, doesn't take his eyes off Reigns the entire time. He's just watching Reigns. He's not even watching the match. He's just watching Reigns, and he understands what's happening in the match via Reigns' facial reactions to it. Heyman doesn't do much, but goodness me, that's amazing.
Kiss.
Exactly, yes. And then, after Jey has wailed away on him with the chair for a while, Owens comes back, hits a stunner on Jey, starts hitting him with the chair, kind of takes all the stuff off the announce table and is going ham. And he says down the lens, talking directly to Roman, he's like, "Why aren't you coming out? He's your family. Come on, this is all fit. Where are you? I want to see you come. If you've got something to say to me, come say it to my face." So it stuns Jey again, goes out to the commentary table, sits at the head of the commentary table. Brilliant touch, Kevin. And then, and he says, "Fine." And he puts his feet up. He's like, "I'll be waiting." And I was like, that's such a good way to end the show. Like, my God.
Yeah. I trust them to not do this, but I kind of hope that, I mean, he's not going to beat Roman at TLC because that's presumably where this is going. But I just hope that they don't just have him as a really good challenger and then forget about him like they often do with Kevin Owens, because that would be a real shame. I mean, there was that segment a few weeks ago where Owens was like trying to tag with Bryan and stuff like that. So, and if Bryan's the opponent for Royal Rumble. They could have them two as a partnership, and they're both amazing. So I could definitely sort of buy into that for a while, and then have them face off at WrestleMania or something like that eventually down somewhere down the line. But yeah, it's just all really good, and you kind of no matter what Heyman does, you always wonder when's Brock coming back, and the way he's always watching Roman, it's like, is this going to end at SummerSlam where Brock comes back and Heyman's like, Roman, I was watching you for a year. I know exactly how to beat you now. And it's like, kind of, there's just so many possibilities, and I just very rare that wrestling sort of like makes me kind of like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And not in a kind of like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? It's a holy poo. What is going to happen now? But anyway, I feel like we've done that segment. So should we do a cheap plug?
We should, yes, because before we get into the rest of the show, real quick plug for you, because it's Black Friday yesterday, we've still got a good old deal on over on WrestleShop.com. You can get the bundle of what you can see on the screen if you're watching the video version of this on YouTube, a WrestleTalk mug, a WrestleTalk t-shirt, and a WrestleTalk hoodie for the low price of $49.99, down from £63.
I really, really want that mug. In fact, I think I might be able to just... Oh.
Whoa, you took it from the screen. That's amazing.
What a mug. This mug can hold anything. It can hold liquids. It can hold solids. It can hold... look, watch this.
Mm-hmm.
It can hold a pen. It can hold another glass.
That's crazy.
It can hold a microphone.
That's so crazy, man.
Biscuits.
Anyway, if you head on over to WrestleShop.com, if you head over to WrestleShop.com for the Black Friday deals, we've got a bunch of other deals as well, but we've got this as well is the featured one of the WrestleTalk bundle of the WrestleTalk logo hoodie, the WrestleTalk logo t-shirt, and the mug for $49.99, down from £63. So go over there and get it. Plus, there's loads of other cool stuff on WrestleShop.com as well, like, Jam That Jam t-shirts and supporting the Authority and stuff like that. The stuff you all really want. Go and check out the shop. It's great. So, let's talk about the rest of the show. The opening segment was that Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, and Otis thing we spoke about before. What happened next was Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode came out and called out the Street Profits. The promo was fine. Yes. Nothing too special, but it was them just saying, we want to face the Street Profits. Street Profits came out and said, fine, we'll face you. We beat the New Day at Survivor Series. We're on a high right now. We can face you. That's fine. Non-title match. And the match itself was, again, fine. It was some good action.
This promo could literally have been Street Profits. Who else is there? Like, you want to have a match. Who else are you going to face? Are Cesaro and Nakamura still on SmackDown? I don't even know anymore. Like, did one of them get traded? I think they are still on there.
Yes, they are.
I mean, I haven't seen them for ages. I do actually think Nakamura's contract expires in January. I might be wrong about that, but I don't know how much longer he's going to be around. I don't know if he likes it over here, but I wouldn't blame him if he left. The match was fine. It was... I guess Roode and Ziggler win. But if they had to win, I guess it had to be via SmackDown's most deadly finisher, the roll-up, because then that's not them winning clean. But it is
them winning clean.
But it is them winning. It is them winning.
It's not
clean,
a decisive victory.
It's not them hitting a finisher and being like, well, look, we beat you because we are better than you. We beat you because we rolled you up. But I do worry that this is going to be the match at TLC, and the match at the Royal Rumble, and the match at Fastlane, and the match at Elimination Chamber, and the match at... Because there really are not a lot of teams left.
Yeah.
I guess if we're talking about Bryan and Owens, they could start teaming, but hopefully it's just going to be...
Usos? once Jimmy comes back.
It's going to be a bunch of Franken teams. Oh, I could absolutely see the Usos winning and aligning with and still being with Roman, and then the whole Samoan dynasty having. I mean, that's I don't know why I don't think of that. That's obviously what's going to happen. But for now, you wonder, like, is this just going to? Are we just going to have Street Profits versus Ziggler Roode every week for the next 2 months?
It's or some combination of them in singles matches and such. Yes, probably. There was a weird bit in Dawkins' promo where he started off, where he said that Roode can only grow facial hair above his upper lip. And I was like, he has a beard. Like right now. What, is that an insult I'm not familiar with? Is that... What is that? He can only grow facial hair above his upper lip. And I was like, what?
Let us know in the comments if you know why that's an insult.
What is that? Why is that?
Interestingly, I can grow facial hair everywhere apart from my upper lip. I can grow it there, but it sort of
takes a while.
Does that?
Yeah,
like a sort of Zoidberg thing.
But it was quite a fast-paced match. There was some good psychology. Montez Ford missed a frog splash pretty early, and then Roode and Ziggler just worked over his ribs for basically the whole match. Later on, Ford then hit another frog splash, but couldn't capitalize quick enough to get the pin because his ribs hurt, which again, nice continuity. I like the psychology in the match. And then after that, Ziggler managed to hit a super kick onto Dawkins. And then Ford got rid of Ziggler out the ring, but then Roode rolled up Ford. So yeah, Roode and Ziggler win, which is fine. Like, the fact they don't have many options means they're forced into a corner, and Roode and Ziggler didn't look like contenders before that. So having them beat the Street Profits in a kind of sort of dirty way, not dirty because it's a roll up, it's still clean, but you know what I mean, is a way to make them more viable challengers. It's not what I would have done, but I'm okay with it on this occasion. I'm not often fans of tag teams losing. I'm not often fans of the champions losing for free on TV, but I think this works.
I've Googled the insult, and all it is people on like Quora, like pubescent men on Quora saying, why can I only grow a beard on my chin and stuff like that? So cool. Maybe it was just a throwaway line that we just...
Who knows? Understand. Weird. After that, we got a video package of Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn's history. Obviously, they were WrestleMania opponents before, so we got a recap of that. Bryan backstage with Caleb Braxton saying he's going to break Sami Zayn's delusions and he wants the Intercontinental Championship, and tonight he's going to get one step closer to it. We got an ad break, and then Caleb Braxton's back at it again, this time with Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, Aaliyah Mysterio, and Murphy. They all come in and they're like, we're so happy. Murphy now realizes that Seth Rollins is terrible. We're all a happy family. King Corbin comes in and says, you shouldn't be a happy family. You only got one win. This is stupid. Murphy's just riding your coattails, and then walks off. And I was like, that was weird.
Yes, I think this, I was going to pop up a screenshot in a second, but Kayla Braxton's face was everyone in this segment. Look at her face. She's going, so I was interviewing the Mysterios and their new son. And here's Baron Corbin, who up to this point has had nothing to do with the Mysterios.
No. And was supposed to have a match with Otis earlier in the night.
Otis, and she's just going, I mean, Kayla Braxton, great interviewer and stuff, but she is so short. I mean, look at her. Look at her next to Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is not tall, and Kayla Braxton is presumably wearing heels, and she's still about 3 inches shorter than him.
That's who cares? Anyway, it says Murphy's riding Rey's coattails and walks off. This led up to a match later, which was super weird, which we'll talk about in a bit. We got a recap of Taker's farewell from Survivor Series. Very nice. Then we got the Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan match, which was, again, really, really good. Shocking. It's Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. There was an insane brain buster from Sami Zayn on the apron to Daniel Bryan. Yeah, don't want to say that one. That was awful. And then went straight into a Blue Thunder Bomb for a great near fall. It was a really cool armbar that Bryan put in, and then really fluid transition into the Yes Lock, which was great. Sami managed to break that up, getting his foot on the bottom rope, and that's when he runs to the back because he's a coward. Runs to the back. Daniel Bryan runs after him to try and get him back. They both go to the backstage area. Referees counting to 10. Sami Zayn sprints back in, gets back into the ring just before the 10 count, so that Daniel Bryan officially loses. It's not a double count out. Daniel Bryan actually lost via count out. Sami Zayn wins. That's awesome. Sami can now gloat that he won.
Sami, he's going to say Sami can now say that he was the better man. I don't know. This is completely just random, but I don't know if you sort of noticed that Bryan and Sami Zayn have kind of swapped appearances. So a couple of months ago, Bryan had the big bushy beard and the long hair.
Yeah.
And Sami Zayn had the short hair and the sort of short beard. And now they've completely changed. Now that Sami's a heel, and now that he's the kind of, I don't know whether it's just kind of they're sort of trying to depict like Sami's kind of madness, shall we say, sort of delusional kind of I'm the champion. But yeah, I really love what Sami's doing. But do you know what I really miss is he was great in this match, like wrestling, but I just really wish we could just watch more Sami Zayn matches, just like him wrestling properly, because some of his matches in NXT are some of my favorite matches of all time. His match with Kevin Owens, I can't remember which takeover it was, but where the referee was just forced to stop it, was just one of the best wrestling matches I've ever watched. And
his one against Nakamura.
Yeah, he's so good. And like he shows, they keep showing glimpses of it. But I would love for him to kind of be this delusional heel, and then for him to be up against someone, and for him just to have a 20-minute match with them, and for it to be just an amazing match, and he wins, and it's like, oh no, that's why he's the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is that I hope they do a story where someone, maybe like Kevin Owens or something, tries to get the old Sami out of him and tries to snap him out of his illusions, and they force him to have a really good wrestling match with someone, and then we can all see that, oh yeah, Sami Zayn's amazing because he is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Don't at me. But he's great. The thing with Sami is that he's great at everything he does, whether he needs to be underdog babyface, cowardly heel, like sneaky heel, devious heel, any kind of facet, like comedy, jobber, any sort of comedic role that he needs to do. He's good at everything, so that they can literally give him anything and he'll make it good, but it's just not at the same level as him being one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. But he's great. So yeah, Bryan then is backstage getting beat up by Jey Uso that we mentioned earlier. KO makes the save and goes to walk after Jey Uso, and after an ad break we see him going up to Roman and Jey, and Kevin Owens just pretty much talks directly to Roman, just being like, what the hell is going on? You're corrupting this man. You're getting in his head. For someone who cares so much about family, you sure treat yours like trash. And then walks off. Excuse me. And then, so then Roman just kind of continues talking to Jey as if Kevin wasn't there. And it's just like, you know what you need to do? Like, we'll make this happen. And then backstage later, Heyman speaks to Adam Pearson. Who makes the match for the main event. After that, we got Bianca Belair versus Natalya. Match itself wasn't too intriguing, but what was intriguing was the feud that's coming out of it, because Bayley came down onto commentary, still wearing the captain's armband from Survivor Series. Nice touch. And she's the one that's saying that Bianca ruined everything for the Women's SmackDown Survivor Series team, which is a nice little bit of heel hypocrisy because she's the one that got eliminated first. Nice one, Bayley.
Yes. So obviously the match was like beating Natalya. Whatever. I don't think it puts Bianca over as much as WWE think, but when you've got the title scene in the women's is Carmella, so you know Carmella's not going to win, or you can sort of assume Carmella's not going to win. So then if you're going to have that, which isn't the most interesting title feud, they're doing the next best thing, which is to have the two other best wrestlers on the roster, which is Bayley and Bianca Belair, feud over who will then go on to face Sasha.
In an ideal world, yes, I'm really hoping this feud is, in a sense, a number one contenders feud without it being called a number one contenders feud.
Because that's what that has to be what they're kind of thinking about. I don't know whether. Well, when I say has to be, that surely is what they will start to think about if they haven't already. Because I mean, who else is there? Like the Riot Squad are not going to be doing much for, it seems. They were kind of just there. Tamina doesn't do anything. Billie Kay is just a comedy person now, doing very well at being a comedy person.
Very
but she's
good,
not going to be a wrestler. Zelina Vega's gone. So, yeah, I think this could be a match at TLC, which could then set up maybe Sasha versus the winner, who I think should be Bianca Belair. I think you can do Sasha Bailey again if you want Sasha to beat Bianca, but hold off on it for at least half, like until WrestleMania season.
I actually think that this is going to be a feud for Bianca and Bailey at TLC, maybe even all the way up to the Royal Rumble, but they both enter the Rumble and Bianca actually wins it. I think that would be amazing to have Bianca win the Rumble and go on to face Banks at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I can definitely see sort of Bianca taking the Rumble. I mean, we said that last year with Shayna Baszler, and we were burned. But yeah, I think that it just makes sense. For Bianca to do that. But yeah,
I feel like we've got ahead of ourselves here because we didn't actually finish talking about the match and how the feud was actually set up. So let's talk about that briefly. Yeah. Where so Bailey came out on commentary. Bianca Belair was having the match with Natalya. They went to the outside. Bianca kind of got in a verbal bit with Bailey. Went to punch Natalya. Natalya ducked and she punched Bailey instead. As they got back into the ring, Bailey tried to interfere in the match once again, but before she could, Bianca kicked Natalya into Bailey, elbowed her off the apron, and then Bianca rolled up Natalya for the win. So she kind of got the best of Bailey on all fronts of it. But it seems like they're heading towards that Bianca Bailey feud, which I'm really into. Like you said, we've got Sasha versus Carmella for the actual title, and now we've got Bianca versus Bailey as a undercard feud, which should, in theory, be setting up Sasha's next challenger after Carmella, which I'd be well into.
So here's something interesting. People may have seen me looking off screen, but I was just looking up the odds for the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble. Who do you think is top?
Bianca Belair?
Sasha Banks.
Maybe she's going to lose the title to Carmella at TLC. Who knows?
God,
anyway, yeah, me neither.
Belair isn't even in the top 10.
That's weird. Yeah, that will probably change over time, though. So after that, we had the weirdest match and the weirdest segment from this week, because this was Murphy versus King Corbin, which was set up earlier. So Murphy was accompanied by all of the Mysterio family, by Ray, Dom, and Aaliyah.
Apart from Ray's wife.
Yes, Angie. And then I was like, okay, sure, they're continuing the whole Mysterio family thing with Murphy with them. That's fine. But King Corbin is the heel in WWE, the prototypical heel, the consummate heel. If you want a heel, rent a heel King Corbin is there for you. And somehow, the Mysterio family out-heeled King Corbin. I don't know how they did it. It was insane. Ray and Dominic continually, throughout the entirety of the match, just got up on the apron. Constantly, for no reason. They just got up on the apron, and Corbin was like, what? Get off. What are you doing? Get off the apron. So then they had to. At one point, he goes for his round the turnbuckle clothesline thing that he does, and Aaliyah's just standing in his way. And he's like, well, why stop it? I'm trying to wrestle. Do you mind? And I was like, I'm kind of on Corbin's side here. Why are they doing this? Is weird. And then with like heel shenanigans, Murphy gets a win because he hits one of his knees onto Corbin. Corbin is next to the ropes. As he's getting the pin, Corbin puts his foot on the bottom rope, and Dominic just pushes his foot off the rope. So then the referee counts the pin. I was like, why are you all heels? What's happening? And then Corbin gets on the mic afterwards and was like, this isn't fair. It's 4-on-1. That you guys did heel shenanigans. I lost that. It wasn't fair. I want a rematch next week. And I'm like, yeah, I'm on Corbin's side. That was dumb. They shouldn't have
Baron
done that.
Corbin faced her. No, so
Ugh.
I wonder if what WWE was thinking is, well, Baron Corbin always cheats. So what the Mysterio family were doing was just making sure that they kind of helped their guy out before Baron Corbin got a chance to cheat. I wonder if that's what they're going for, or whether it'll be something where, because I mean, eventually, I think the match will be Murphy against Dominic or something like that somewhere down the line, because it might be that Murphy's like, guys, you got to stop helping me. Like I can do this. Like it's like you don't trust me. Like you've said you trust me. I'm with your daughter, but you clearly don't trust me because you keep helping me. Like, what is this? And then they're like, oh yeah, sorry. And then like Dominic runs out at the end to try and help Murphy, and he's like, you know what? No, screw this. I've had enough of this. And then they set up a match for some point down the line. I feel like that's I feel like that's how they could work this. But yeah, in sort of in just this enclosed space of this one show, this didn't make any sense.
No, because I don't know what if they're trying to set up the Mysterio family to be a heel family, then I think there's definitely better people to have done it on than King Corbin, because he is, like I said, like he's the consummate heel. So I feel like you could have, you could have had a friendly match between Murphy and Apollo Crews, and then the Mysterio family are being heels to him, which makes me think that this isn't them setting up a heel family, because I think they would have done it to a babyface rather than to a heel. So now I'm worried that what I think they're trying to do, which might be slightly racist of me, is they're trying to recapture some of the Eddie Guerrero heat, because obviously Eddie and Ray have a very strong connection, and they're trying to be like, look, they cheat, but you love them. And I'm like, but I don't though, because they're just being dicks. Like it's Eddie Guerrero's character shouldn't have worked, but because of Eddie's charisma and the way he wrestled, it just did. You can't replicate that. Eddie is a once-in-a-lifetime wrestler and a once-in-a-lifetime character. You cannot replicate that character with anyone else, because it just won't work. The psychology isn't there, and it only worked for Eddie.
And
don't try and replicate it.
And it worked in the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
It doesn't work now, and especially doesn't work when there's Ray, Dominic, as there's three of them doing it basically. But I just want to do a shout out to myself, who called. You said last week that you thought that we probably wouldn't see Aaliyah on TV anymore, but here she is. As I said, I think that she's either started or will be starting wrestling training soon. She could probably make loads of money out of it, and I think that I know this is a kind of death kiss, but have heard that Vince thinks she's great, and it helps that. So not only does Vince think she's great, her surname is kayfabe. Mysterio. Her surname is Mysterio. Her dad is Rey Mysterio. She's got her family has so much history in this company. I feel like she is going to be like a WWE wrestler full time in the next couple of years. Maybe she can be La Luchadora. Maybe,
yeah. It's this segment makes me worried. Because one, I don't want to see a heel Mysterio family. I mean, I'd kind of be intrigued to see a heel Rey Mysterio, just because that's new.
I don't know if you remember ages ago, there was this talk of this Latino world order.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder whether that's just kind of an idea they're trying to sort of
maybe
because this was when there was Sin Cara, this was when they had Kalisto and Andrade and people like that, and they were apparently Ray sort of wanted to start that. So I wonder if this is kind of okay, well, if I can't have that, then I want my entire family to be in my faction.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah.
We'll see.
There's another really good segment backstage though next, which was Sami Zayn running into Apollo Crews and Big E. Apollo and Big E were just kind of vibing, hanging out as you do. And backstage there was Kayla Braxton, who was kind of behind him with the interview area that she's got. And then Sami Zayn comes in. He's like, guys, do you mind? I've got an interview with Kayla Braxton, about my amazing win I just had over Daniel Bryan. It'd be great if you could get out of my way. And he's saying, I beat Daniel Bryan in 10 seconds with the count out. Apollo, actually, I beat you with the count out. Isn't that funny? Now you know how Daniel Bryan feels. I was like, Sammy's such a dick. I love him. Apollo walks off in anger, but then Big E inserts himself into it. And I was like, now I'm into it. Here we go. Right. Here's what I'm looking forward to. And Big E's just saying, like, Sami, your entire reign is built on a house of cards. It's so rickety. Like, all it takes is one blow, and that's just going to come crumbling down. And then Sammy's like, you should be applauding me right now. I don't even know what you're talking about. And Big E's like, yeah, I should be actually. And I love it when Big E starts applauding. Sammy's just like, yeah, thank you. Like, he's like, wait, he's actually applauding. Yeah. But then Big E goes to shake his hand and obviously just crushes his hand in his grip. For a 10 count as well, for the count out, which was nice. And when he got to 5 as well, loved the little throwback. He's counting, as he's holding onto his hand, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You remember the 5 count? 6, 7. I was like, oh, I remember the 5 count, Big E.
I don't know whether this happened to you, but this is just me being old and jaded, but when it cut back to Big E and Apollo, like, messing around, I was like, oh no, they're just going to put Big E in a tag team with Apollo Crews, right? Because they're both back and muscly, and that's something that WWE would do. Oh, I'm so glad that didn't happen. I was like, oh no, they've given up on Big E. Yeah. So hopefully this is the real start of the Big E put, and I think he should win his first challenge. I just think that should happen. I think he should. Almost, as much as I want to see Sami Zayn have a great match, I think they could either play it where Big E just dominates and just crushes Sami Zayn, or they could just have a really good match and Big E wins. I don't think either way. I think that would be good.
What I'd really like, because they're also inserting Daniel Bryan into this sort of mix, is they have a triple threat at TLC and Big E wins by beating Sami, so that Bryan's protected if he wants to go on to face Roman at Royal Rumble for the Universal title. But also Big E gets his big win and Sami loses at TLC, so it kind of protects all of them. And I think it would be an amazing match, because as we've seen from something like a Clash of Champions, triple threat ladder match with Sami, AJ, and Jeff was awesome. So if they could do another triple threat ladder or a triple threat tables match or something, I think that'd be great. Like, just why not? I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah. And like I mentioned earlier, Big E is the favorite to win the Royal Rumble still. So that might change, but right now I think it'd be a great call. Even
him winning as the Intercontinental Champion, I think it'd be great, because one, it would really elevate the Intercontinental Championship. For starters, it'd be great. Have you seen the size of Big E? How on earth could anyone eliminate that man? I know. How would anyone eliminate Big E? He's got to win. We'll whiz through the last few bits, because we are going to go over on time, I think. But as another really funny bit from Billie Kay here, where it cut back to the commentators, they were saying about what's coming up next. Billie Kay slides in on a chair with a headset on, and saying that she's going to be on commentary now. You can see on her resume, she has an extensive background in talking. Which I thought was a great line. And then a rare moment of brilliance from Michael Cole, of all people, who they just kind of went in silence as Billie Kay was like, so I'll take over from here. And she looked really excitedly from one to the other. Michael Cole just looks up to the camera and it was just like, just cut the feed, cut the cameras. I was like, oh my God, that's such a brilliant moment. I genuinely laughed out loud at that moment. It was very funny. Billie Kay's really funny. I like it. Yeah. Even if this isn't leading anywhere, I like having a laugh. It took like 30 seconds. That's fine. I don't care. That's great. And then final thing we're talking about, which happened before the main event, was a Carmella promo backstage. She had like a sort of like video package type deal where she was narrating over some clips of it. And it's basically a classic heel turn promo from Carmella saying that, I used to have the spotlight and I had the title and the fans, but then I started doing things for the fans and putting on the smile for the happy faces, and I lost myself along the way, and now I'm doing things for me again, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that necessarily. And then she goes to snap to end the promo, but it doesn't end. What's happening? She goes again and it doesn't end. And then a hand comes into the shot that's carrying a glass of champagne. And then you turn and you can see on the knuckles, it's got the boss thing on it that Sasha Banks wears. Yeah. It's Sasha Banks. Well, hey, she throws the champagne and she beats up Carmella.
This was silly because Carmella, first of all, when has that not been Carmella's character? Like, she's always been the princess and money, whatever. And also in kayfabe world, that room is so tiny that Carmella didn't realize that Sasha Banks was standing there the whole time, and that when she put her hand in, she stared at the hand for ages, and at no point realized that the hand had a body.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know it's camera work and stuff, but I like to think it's a guilty pleasure of mine just to think how that looked just behind the camera. Sasha Banks just standing there, Carmella going, "I hate Sasha Banks," and then going, "Oh no, I didn't know you were there the whole time." Anyway, we are. We're just rambling now, running over. So
Banks attacking her was nice. It was a nice little progression. It's not just Carmella beating up Banks. We got to hear Carmella actually talk for a bit. Banks beat us, a little bit more physicality from her end. Cool. I'm still not super into the feud, but at least it wasn't the same stuff all the time, which is nice. Then we had the main event of Kevin Owens versus Jey Uso, which we've spoken about. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good show. The Corbin Murphy stuff was absolutely baffling to me. I did not understand that at all. Don't know where it's going, but sure. Pretty much everything else was pretty good. Intercontinental Championship pictures looking great. Bianca Bailey, I'm super into. The Roman Reigns Jey Uso stuff was amazing. Jey Uso, especially on this show, absolutely killed it. I gave it a 3 out of 4. This one I thought it was really good.
I would have done the same, but what did our lovely fans think on our Twitter poll?
Yes.
They agree.
Okay.
Sorry, I did it too early.
Ahead. You did, yeah. Well, if you head on over to our Twitter page at WrestleTalk_TV, we're doing polls over there now because YouTube's taken the poll feature away. So we do them on Twitter now. And as you can see, 54.4% of people voted for good, and 19.7 went one higher with excellent. And I've got to agree with the majority here. I thought it was a very good show.
Sometimes I feel like people just go on it without looking at watching the show and just click terrible because they're trolls. But there you go. I don't think anyone could watch that and go, that was terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
if someone particularly hates Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, I'm sure they could probably hate that show because it was a lot of it. But I don't. I really enjoy it. So
absolutely no. I think that is a majority good. So I think that is a very fair vote. Well done, fans.
Yes, well done. But before we get out of here today, we now need to say thank you to some very special people, and those are our $25 and above pledge hammers on Patreon. If you've not headed over to our Patreon page yet, you should. We're going to have WrestleTalk After Dark going up. I think this week has already gone up. I want to say. Or maybe Monday. I'm sorry, I've been off this week, so I don't know.
Me too.
But WrestleTalk After Dark will be coming at some point. Loads of other bonus perks as well. If you pledge at the $25 tier or above, you get your own custom wrestling nickname, and it gets read out on a show much like this one. So thank you to Order of Merit Whitelow. Woo! Thank you very much.
The Beauty, Not the Beast, Lynn Bell.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. Raoul, see you later, Laver. Woo! Yes, thank you very much.
Awesome. WrestleTalk's personal problem solver, Jamie Donovan.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. Kevin, Wakeham. Woo! Thank you very much.
What? Really imaginative. The Cleaner, Kenny Shaw.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. The Blacksmith, Jason Smith. Woo! Thank you very much.
The Wand chooses the Wizard, Carol Wands, my best friend.
Thank you very much. And yes, that is the Wands chooses.
Yes, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Not correct.
Pierce, Redbeard, Rowan. Woo! Thank you very much.
Awesome. Geordie, West Side Story.
I love Wet Side Story. It's my favorite. Michael Jensen Radio. Woo! Thank you very much.
And finally, for today, and the last one of the month, here comes the money, Fred Buckland.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much.
The last one for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Well, yes, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please press the videos that have just appeared on the screen to catch up with more awesome WrestleTalk stuff, and the button in the middle that will make you become a pledge hammer on Patreon. I have been Corporate Chopper. I've been joined by Randy Andy Datson, and that